Yo, what is going on today, guys? We're back here for another video. So I ended up entering this very small, I don't know what to call it. Like, I know it's technically not a local because, local means like, actually in person and stuff, but it was only 20 players and I basically simply just entered for practice and I accidentally ended up winning the tournament. And I asked people on YouTube, they said they wanted to see this. So I want to preface this video is simply just for educational, so people can look at the games that I played and see also my opponents and just kind of like recognize misplays, see how I piloted the deck. I'm not trying to claim this as my fourth tournament win or anything crazy or special, so I just wanted to make that clear. And yeah, so I ended up entering with Sylveon Greninja. We just look at the deck real quick. It's like literally like the most basic Sylveon Greninja deck. I have the red card, the Pokemon, the two Cyruses, and for people who have seen the streams or just maybe I've talked about it in the videos as well, I tried this deck for the first 3 days since it was discovered, and I simply was bricking 24/7 with this deck. And the reason I actually chose to play it is because I just think it's the best deck in the game. It's constantly just having really good tournament results. It's getting first places. It's just making top cuts. Like a crazy amount of these decks. And I told myself I'm kind of sick of just playing these subpar decks. Like I played Garchomp, Rapardos, and Ursi's Day. I did not make top cut. I was very disappointed. I've just been disappointed in my results lately, bro. Like I just feel like since space time, I have not been very consistently making top cut. And I don't know if that's just because the game is getting, well, I mean, the game is getting harder. There's just better cards, more power creep. But I just feel like I'm just not as consistent as I was. So I entered this small tournament for practice because I feel like I kind of actually, want to make those top cuts again. And I basically just chose this as the best deck because it has Greninja with Cyrus, which is just insanely broken. It has Sylveon for the drop power. Then Giratina is just a nice ramp up attacker when you need to ramp up in certain scenarios for that heavy damage. I don't really want to get too much into the deck. Everybody kind of knows what Sylveon Greninja does. I just wanted to showcase that I'd use like the bare minimum. Like it's just like literally like the average, like the standard list, to be honest, right? It's nothing crazy. But now looking at my matchup, so I've placed like a bunch of meta decks actually. So I've placed Silvally Flareon, which is like a Flareon variant that was kind of there at the beginning. Not played the most, but it's still pretty good, decent. I faced that. I faced a mirror match. I lost to Buzzwole. I think Buzzwole was actually pretty decent against this deck. I also lost to a Silvally Oricorio, which I made a massive misplay. I also got the run back in grand finals, so I ended up, actually clutching up. Face Zapdos or Oricorio, which whatever, bro. That's why I said like this video, this is purely just to showcase the gameplay and how I piloted the deck, because people said they wanted to see it. Tapu Arceus, which is a new Oricorio version rising up, another mirror match, and then we actually ended up facing like I said, Silvally Oricorio once again to win the tournament. So how this video is going to go, I'm going to showcase the games. So for the first game, I do have my mic and my face cam on. The other games I will actually be just doing commentating over and basically trying to explain the thought process that I had during those games as best as I could remember, because it has been a couple days to be honest. And the reason I didn't have my mic on for the other games is, to be honest, I won the first game and I told people in the Discord that I was going to kind of like chill and stream it if anybody wanted to watch, and someone ended up popping in. I don't know if they want me to say, but shout out to you, bro, because you know who you are. And I was just chilling playing in the tournament and ended up winning. Like I said, dude, it was mainly for practice, nothing special. Just want to preface that once again. And let's just get in those games, and thank you guys for always just supporting the channel. And I promise, bro, I will be getting a good tournament run in one of these bigger tournaments soon. All right, let's just go second, bro. Damn it, we lost. Watch us start with like Giratina. So it's just so obvious, bruh. It's just so obvious. I need them to start with an Eevee. If they don't start with Eevee, I'm cooked. I'm gonna be so real. I guess Psychic Energy too, which is cool. So I could charge up Giratina pretty fast if this is Eevee. But it is type null, which this might just mean I'm cooked, bro. Let's just go for a Froakie. Alright, we do going. They are playing Mars. I don't know what I want to play this on, bro. I kind of just need them not to have Silvally almost. I just need to draw a red card, maybe. I think going first. I think if we went second, we would have been chill. Because we would have been able to swap out and only take like 40 damage. But maybe we could draw Cyrus? Like they land heads too, which is so unfortunate. Oh, I mean, we get 1 KO of them. I guess it's not the worst. It's not the worst. It's not like the worst scenario, but like now we're breaking of Psychic Energy also, which means like we can't. Yeah, it kind of means we just can't even swap out the Greninja if we wanted to, which kind of sucks. So I guess I'm just gonna go after this guy. I don't believe they have red. I don't believe so. Let me see. Do they have red? No, they don't. They have Guzma though, so I'll save my Giant Cape for like one more turn. Let me just do this low-key, bro. Let me get rid of this Eevee. I don't need it. And if I get a second Froakie, I get a second Froakie. Nah, just Sylveon. Whatever, bro. I think we just got to do this and then basically just bank on them not having a Flareon. Because, I mean, if they attack me here, we're still fine. Because they have no energy on the dude. Unless I don't know. Yeah, I think the only way we could lose is like Guzma. It's fine by me. Yep. Yeah, we have the Giant Cape, and if they Guzma, it's lucky cooked. We could do Sylveon. Problem is they're in one EV bag, so if they have that one EV bag, this is bad for us. I guess a second Froakie is fine. And I could do this. I was really hoping for a red card, bro, but we just never got it. We also, I mean, if they don't have Guzma, dude, we also just win next turn. If they have Guzma, it just might be cooked. It kind of just depends, bro. Yeah, it's like if they have Guzma, we lose. Most likely, unless we draw a red card and can stall the Eevee bag. But who knows? We'll find out this turn. If only I had. If they don't have Guzma, Eevee bag. All right. They did waste Eevee bag though. That actually is important because yeah, they have Guzma. So I believe we can actually KO them with Sylveon now. They also have a Sabrina, so I do just lose to a Sabrina, which they probably have, which is why I need to get my red card. Yeah, I probably just lose to Sabrina. I lose to Sabrina. I lose to Sabrina. I already know it. Also, I never got water energy, bro. It's crazy. So I couldn't even have swapped out Giratina, bro. Like I wanted to attack up Greninja, but I just never could. But maybe they don't have it, bro, and we could win. Actually, like maybe they don't, but who knows? Because we do just knock them out. They have no more healing. Gladion. All right, we actually do win. What they might do is like try to swap out, go into like a type no, but we have Cyrus now, so we got lucky that they just didn't have it. I think this is the correct play. I think this is the only out they had. You know, if they're gonna evolve in this evolve, then go in the Flareon next turn, but unfortunately we just kind of have Cyrus. So GG's. Do this. I didn't even need to do this actually. My bad. I kind of forgot they were at 70 HP. That's I thought they were at 90 HP still. I kind of forgot they used the ability. I didn't mean that the PBM. But yeah, game 1 of this small local, I guess. I'm not gonna call it a tournament. So for the second game, it was a mirror match and I ended up going second, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So essentially what happened is I went second and we both started with EVs. You could obviously see that I have Sylveon, Greninja, and a rare candy in my hand. What ended up happening is I evolved into Sylveon. I ended up getting Giratina, so I started charging Giratina up. My opponent bricked, never ended up drawing Sylveon or the Greninja, so they just had Giratina in the back. And all I did was charge up my Giratina, use the Greninja and the Cyrus to bring in the Giratina. And at that point, dude, I have a Giratina. They have nothing evolved. My Giratina also has no damage on it besides the attack from itself. And I won the game. And it was a 7-minute game because all it was just, it literally was just me charging up Giratina, you know, doing the Greninja pings. So I just want to save everybody's time. So my opponent unfortunately bricked, and I just won because of it in the mirror match. That's all it came down to. And I didn't want to just waste everybody's time, 7 minutes for nothing. So the third match was actually pretty similar. So this is against the Buzzwole player and I am going first. And I start a Froakie. I have Greninja, so I'm like, okay, well, I kind of have that going for me, I guess. If I can top deck into a rare candy, And I'm like, okay, they actually have a Buzzwole lead. This is pretty good for me. But essentially what happens is I just never end up getting into Greninja, bro, for like a lot of the game. Like they set up 2 energy. So I don't get Greninja. And then I do get Greninja, but then I don't get water energy whenever I have Sylveon. I never saw Giratina. So what they do is they just take the KO on the Froakie. They just punch it. Like I basically don't do anything. Like they use 1 Erica because I was just like flopping it, dude, with Froakie. And they ended up getting Celesteela. They just switched in the Pheromosa, snipe my Sylveon. And at that point it's too late because all they did was just Cyrus and my Sylveon. As we can see here. So they literally just started Buzzwole, 1 second, put all the energy on and knocked out a Froakie. Kind of just unfortunate, bro. And then they switched in the Pheromosa and then just, you know, brought my Sylveon in. So it's also like one of the very fast games where I kind of bricked. And yeah, they just kind of had everything. And I just don't want to waste like 10 minutes of everyone's time because this game took 7 minutes again. So I just wanted to do these really fast games. And now we can actually go into the games that actually were pretty good. So this game is against Silvally Oricorio, and you will see at the very end, I had a guaranteed way to win this game. So I start going second, very good for us, you know, because we are going against Silvally. Obviously, we never want to see Type Null going second. The problem is we do have a Froakie lead. I didn't want to put Giratina just so it doesn't take damage, but they could start off Zorora, which is what I was the most afraid of. So I was actually really hoping they started off Oricorio, and that would be very bad on their end. But they ended up starting with Type Null and Zorora. So the main thing I was worried about in this game was them obviously having a Silvally Dawn combo right off the bat. It's also important to note that my opponent is playing 2 Giovannis, which could, you know, come up. Obviously not really now, and it's always something that could happen. But I top deck Eevee, and at this point I have 2 Pokeballs. Like I'm guaranteed like every single basic on my deck. And I have the Sylveon too, so I get the draws from that. So I was like feeling pretty good about that. And my next energy is going to be Psychic, so I can start ramping up Giratina and like being able to go into that to knock out these Silvallis like pretty quickly. Like I said, the main thing I was worried about right now was like a Dawn Silvally. So if that happened, that'd be pretty bad because then I'd have to like sacrifice like 2 things. Or I would have to put Sylveon in to take a hit, but then anytime I can just get Cyrus then. So my opponent evolved into this Silvally, bro, and my first thought was like they had Dawn, bro. This is it's GG's, bro. But they simply just don't have it by the end of the turn. I'm like, all right, bro, we have a chance. We actually have a chance. And you can see I'm only getting Psychic too besides the 1 water, bro. So that's nice. So I can attack with Sylveon if I need to. I'm just gonna need to see water at some point because obviously Greninja needs to attack into these Oricorios. But I ended up drawing a second Sylveon, and then I got the classic Sylveon into the Professor Research. I drew Greninja, and I unfortunately did not have a rare candy, so I really wish I put that second EV down. But at the end of the day, I mean, this Froakie's gonna die next turn no matter what, so I can just place it down after that. So they actually end up Marsing me, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, like I already had Giratina, and like I don't really mind it. Like I didn't have Greninja anyways. Like yeah, I was kind of close to it probably, but like at the end of the day, I drew the EV back, so I could just probably get like a Sylveon at some point. But you know, they obviously just take the KO because there's just no reason not to. And then at this point, my Giratina can just come in and attack the Silvally back to back. Because they probably obviously, you know, they have the energy on Zorora, so they probably just go Silvally Zorora, and that's 2 KOs for me, which I felt pretty great about. So I have the Giant Cape, but at this point they already use Mars, so and they don't have Guzma, so I'm like, I could probably just save this in my hand. I might not need it on Giratina, so I could just kind of like save it for later. So I just attack, and I'm expecting Zorora to come in just to attack, but obviously, you know, it makes the most sense. I don't have Greninja online. There's no reason for them to actually do that. I wish I had Greninja so I could simply just Cyrus the Zorora in, but obviously it does not happen. They use Gladion as well, and that's good because that means they're not using a Dawn to go into attacking with Oricorio, which they simply are just setting up. I finally draw the rare candy, and I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I really wish I just had that Greninja because that's all I need to win the game. Also, something important to note is that I am currently bricking with the Psychic energy. I'm not getting water, so even if I did get Greninja, I would not be able to attack these Oricorios. So in this position, I'm like, do I want to take a hit? Probably not. I don't want to get my Giratina in range to get Cyrus in by a Silvally at any point. And because they have the double Geos, I use my giant cape and I'm like, okay, I need to draw Greninja. Greninja is how I win this game. So I just started drawing because I could either draw double Greninja or my or my second Sylveon still. And I just simply get the Greninja, dude. So I have everything I need now because all I have to do is just bring in the Zorora with the Sylveon, get the KO, and then I just have to knock out one Oricorio with the Greninja at some point later on in this game. Opponent evolves in Silvally. Not really surprised. You know, they just always have it. And they attack me for 50. And yeah, I'm fine with this, dude. I'm actually really fine with this. I even get the second Cyrus in case it is necessary. And I'm kind of debating on what to do. I'm like, I don't have the second Sylveon, so I can't just evolve this one, which I'm fine with because, you know, I had the other one on the bench with energy on it already. And they have 4 cards. I'm like, I might as well just red card. I'm probably never going to use a red card ever again at this point. And I basically just wanted to get the KO. Like, I had double Cyrus, but obviously, you know, Silvally's at an HP number where, like, I actually won't be able to knock it out if I did Cyrus in. I don't have to waste 2 Cyruses. Like, obviously, I could bring it in, attack it, and then, like, just keep pinging with Silvally, or, like, Greninja, I mean. But I wanted to get the guaranteed KO, so they couldn't use the Zorora to, like, dawn onto the Silvally at some point. Or, like, you know, they just had the energy there. So I just basically wanted to get rid of it so they couldn't dawn onto something. And, you know, it's my second KO. Now all I have to do is just get water energy, which I do, and then Greninja would simply win. You gotta remember, they did get that early Froakie KO. So this is actually where I ended up misplaying the game. I 100% misplayed, and it is my fault for this. So they attack me for 50. And I know that next turn, they're going to go into Silvally and attack me. And I'm very confident that they actually end up having a Cyrus in their hand. I just kind of had a gut feeling. So you can see my Greninja ping is hovering over the Silvally. This mistake lost me this game. So what I should have done, so the Silvally only had 1 energy on it. This Oricorio had 0. What I should have done is I should have pinged Greninja pinged onto the Oricorio, brought it into the Cyrus, because that means they can't dawn. They can't swap out an attack of Silvally because they would have to use Dawn. And if they do that, they're not using a Cyrus to KO my Sylveon. And obviously, you know, if Oricorio's in, like, they, you know, it's just basically, yeah, they can't ever attack off Silvally and use Dawn, or not Dawn, but Cyrus on the same turn if I brought in that Oricorio. And then from that point on, I got the water energy. My Greninja would KO any Oricorio in the active spot. Or if the Silvally comes in for some reason, if they swap out and just put it in, my Giratina would guarantee knock it out. So that's what I should have done to guarantee the victory. I made the mistake after, and I noticed it right away after. Brad literally in the Discord call, I'm like, oh my god, Brad literally could have won this game. But it was too late. I already wasted the Greninja ping. So my only hope was to swap out and basically pray for no Cyrus. And then I still would have won the game. If they just didn't have a Cyrus, I would have won. So you see me just thinking, bro, I'm like, oh, I'm cooked. So I swap out, go in the Giratina, because no matter what they do, like, they're not going to get Giratina in a range where, like, it's going to KO. Like, technically, actually, with a Geo, they would. But I just put Giratina in so I can swap out into Greninja and actually still attack. And also just take a hit. But as you'll see here, they have the Cyrus where they just swap out attack of Silvally. So that was the first mistake I made with this deck. I kind of just, you know, was chilling out, wasn't playing the best I could have. And like I said, bro, I literally had the game. All I had to do was do that one play, and I simply would have won, but I didn't. So it is what it is. Also, I kind of forgot to say it, but this is a best of 1 in Swiss, and then the last 3 rounds of Top Cut are a best out of 3. So for my 5th match, I actually ended up going against the Zapdos player. So it's like the only like mid-tier hero, low-tier hero, bro. Zapdos is interesting. At the end of the day, bro, Oricorio is Aurora. But I started really good, dude. Like, I had double Pokeball, like I had Sylveon, and I like I'm already basically guaranteed Greninja. Obviously, the downside is I did go first, and they can't easily just knock me out with like Zorora attacking on the following turn, because Froakie, you know, takes 70 damage. And I just red card. I mean, there's just no reason not to. And I was very scared of like I was so scared of getting like dawned onto that Zapdos, and that Zapdos just ruining my day. At the same time, it would have been hilarious, so I was really wanting it. But they put the poison barb on Zorora, bro, which was actually like pretty annoying, and like it was kind of annoying, bro, I'm not gonna lie. But I ended up getting Giratina, which is like a pretty good thing. Obviously the Giratina, you know, kind of destroys the Zapdos with the Greninja. And then I had Sylveon as a backup. And at this point, it's like, dude, like, I mean, they don't have anything. Like, there's a chance I could just win next turn with Greninja. Is like, I was like, okay, I could evolve it. Like, I could also like maybe like swapped it out. I'm pretty sure I kind of just left it in the active spot if I'm not mistaken. But I guess we'll find out. But I got the classic Sylveon into Professor Research. I mean, this is why Sylveon is one of the most broken cards. And then I just got a second Froakie as well, so I'm feeling pretty good. And like, obviously I evolved, so I can't attack with Greninja, and I went first. So I was like, oh, I might as well just start setting up Giratina in case I ever need to use it as like a shield, or if I ever do want to attack with it. But they just started placing down a second Oricorio, which I was very fine with. They ended up using Iono, which was like, I didn't really have anything in my hand that I wanted. Like, the Cyrus was definitely something I wanted, but at the end of the day, it was whatever, bro. But they actually ended up using Iono, and it gave me a second Greninja, bro. And I'm like, oh my god, I literally just win this game now. Like, I felt so confident that I just simply won the game because of that. Like, they do knock out my Greninja in 2 hits, which is like kind of annoying. But like, I could just retreat, tank with something, and I could just mop these Oricorios just purely with the Greninja Shurikens. So you saw me almost put the energy on Sylveon so I can go and attack next turn, and kind of like debate on what I wanted to do. And then you could even see me just like doing that. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to attack. Like, I have 2 Greninja set up, right? It's like a Zorora doing 50 damage. Like, any of these Pokemon have to 3-tap a Sylveon. So I was like, I might as well just Greninja ping, and like, and if they have like Cyrus or Sabrina to kill the Greninja, like they have it. It kind of just is what it is. And obviously, all it takes is 2 turns, by the way. 2 turns for 2 Greninjas to kill an Oricorio. And at this point, I get like a double KO next turn. Like, the Zapdos has never came out, so like I don't think they're ever gonna get the energy on Zapdos. Because a red card bricked them, obviously. And then yeah, you do see here they actually had the Cyrus for the Greninja, but I was still fine with this because that means my Sylveon's at full HP. Like, my Greninja, like, I could just start setting it up to attack at this point if I really wanted it to. Plus, like, they already wasted Cyrus, so like now I have Sylveon and Giratina to stall and just take a bunch of hits from these 50 attackers. So I was feeling fine. Plus, you know, I actually don't break. I get water next turn as well. And I was just chilling, bro. I was simply chilling. So I do get poisoned, but I just swap out next turn, so I only take 20 damage from it. So it's like, it didn't put me in a range where like I would have been threatened by a Sabrina or anything. Plus, I still had Greninja to tank a hit anyway. So like, at this point, like, I already knew I kind of won the game. Like, I guess like a Zapdos now and like a Dawn could have ruined my day, but they just honestly, they just never got it. So there's just like really nothing my opponent could have done. They did use red, which is very interesting. But it's like they do 70-80 damage. Like, I'm still not at a KO. Like, obviously I'm at a KO range, but they don't have a Cyrus left in their deck. They already wasted it on the Greninja. Not only that, but in case they did have a Sabrina or like a second Cyrus, I got the Giant Cape anyways. So I was literally just chilling, bro. You can see me, I just swap out. I just put the Giratina in because I could just swap out for free. And I have the double Cyrus still, so I take this Oricorio K out, and then next turn I just knock out the other one. And it's just GG's. And I guess I could like fast forward it too. You can see I just Greninja Shuriken, they just attacked my Giratina, I just swap out, I attack, and then I just win the game. Nothing really special happened. So yeah, and then this was the final round of Swiss. After this, it is all best of 3, so now we can actually see the interesting stuff. Okay, this is my apologies because I forgot to record the very first game of this set. You can see here I have the very ending. This is a bad YouTuber moment. I have a Greninja, and I already have 2 points, and they obviously have Oricorio and a Zorora and then Arceus. What I'm pretty sure happened is I got a KO with Sylveon or Giratina. That's all I can remember. I literally don't remember what happened, but I basically won the first game with Giratina. Just knocking out a Zorora after getting like an EX kill. I'm pretty sure I knocked out a Tapu Koko, so bad on me for that. But trust me, bro, it makes up for it because I had the craziest play in this other game to actually win, as you will see. So for the second game in the set, you can see I started with Giratina for her going first, and I'm like, I'm cooked. I'm cooked, bro. Like, I'm like praying the god it's like an Oricorio. I'm praying the god it's not a Silvally, but a Tapu Koko, because I don't want to take 110 damage, bro, in 2 turns. Like if they were going first with Tapu Koko, then like it would have been all right. But the fact that I'm going second, I'm like, dude, GG's. They actually have the Tapu Koko too, Oricorio's Aurora, bro, and they just kind of had everything that you would want to see on a turn one for them. I have a professor research, at least, I guess, technically. So what I do is, I draw nothing. I draw absolutely nothing. I was contemplating actually, like, really quick. I'm like, do I want to Pokemon and try to get a basic that I at least put down? But I'm like, I'll wait one more turn, bro, just in case I do end up drawing something like an Eevee. Because, like, dude, my Tapu Koko can't, I mean, my Giratina would just be able to knock out the Tapu Koko. They obviously can't knock me out. And then from there on, it kind of just depends on, who can get that final KO, because obviously we're basically going to end up trading if I do end up knocking it out. So they do this. I'm like, okay, dude. Also, actually, that was my plan. That was my plan. But as you can see here, dual energy decks gave me 2 waters. This means I have to actually use this ability 3 times to charge it up, because if I got Psychic, I could have put an energy on it, use this ability, and then put the 3rd Psychic it needed. But I'm playing a dual energy deck, and it's also another reason I didn't want to play this deck, by the way. But it's just so good. You have to just, unfortunately, you just have to deal with that sometimes. So this changed my whole game plan up. I'm like, all right, so this Giratina is basically just going to be a sacrifice. There's like nothing I could do about this. And I do top deck the Froakie, which is godlike. Obviously, I still have no rare candies. And you can see here, I'm like contemplating. I'm like, dude, I'm just in my mind. I just know for a fact, I'm thinking in this situation, I'm cooked. What do I do? Like, what do I do in this situation? Like, do I swap out the Giratina and let the Froakie die? I'm like, that's not a good option either, because then I have nothing. And I'm like, I gotta use the Pokemon, bro. Like, I just need to actually draw a basic. But at the same time, like, is that gonna do anything for me? Because like, if I get rid of the Sylveon and I got an Eevee, what is the Eevee gonna do? And then like, so I'm like, I'm just like trying to think. I'm like, is there any way out of this terrible position, bro? So you see, I just put the water in Greninja, dude. I'm like, there's just nothing I can do. Like, I simply just have to give it up. And maybe they just make a mistake. Like, maybe they swap out, make a mistake. Obviously they don't. They just simply attack up Tapu Koko because it's the smart thing to do. And even if I get like a Greninja, dude, it just gets mobbed by Tapu Koko and it doesn't even take a KO. So like, I have to think very hard on how to win this. And I got to top deck a Pokeball. That's the greatest thing I could have top decked in that moment. And I needed an Eevee, which it exactly gave me because I had a 66% chance. From here on out, I have plays. I actually have plays. I finally get the Psychic I need. Thankfully, at least for the Sylveon. So I'm still, you know, saving everything on my hand. You know, at any moment I could get hit by like a red card or a Mars. So now they're setting up on the Arceus and my Giratina is down. I have a Sylveon and I'm like, I mean, theoretically, if I just attack of Sylveon twice, I knock out the Tapu Koko, then I can switch in the Greninja. But then I thought about something. If I attack of Sylveon twice, I'm low enough where I just get KO'd in return by anything in the pack. At least I get the rare candy for Greninja. And I already have the water energy on it. So like, I think I'm about like, okay, let me just red card now. I kind of wish I saved that for later, because I didn't need to use it now. I'm like, my only option is you attack of Sylveon, swap out attack of Greninja, and basically pray, because I have the giant cape, which means my Greninja could live. But then I'm like, wait a second, I have another out. I could bring in the Arceus, which means they would have to waste the energy. I could attack it. So next turn I am guaranteed a KO. This saves my Sylveon from taking any damage this turn. And the only way I take damage is if they retreat the Arceus out, wasting all of the energy. I also could have just been attacked by a Dawn. That was also a possibility that I was willing to take, because this game just started so bad for me. So I brought in the Arceus, like I said. I'm like, if they have a Dawn, I'm cooked. If they retreat the Arceus, that is the best case scenario for me. That's exactly what I want to happen. They ended up using Mars on me, but I didn't have anything in my hand besides that second Cyrus, so I'm basically begging to draw it back, which I do. Not only that, I get a Pokeball. I get a Pokeball and an Eevee, which that opens access to Sylveon, which I actually end up getting once again. So all I need left is a obviously second rare candy, and I already had a plan in my mind. I'm like, okay, I still lose to Dawn. They obviously didn't have Dawn last turn. What I have to do is I have to Cyrus back in the Arceus. It can't swap out unless they have a Dawn. If they have a Dawn, that's just GG's. It is what it is. But I swap out into the Eevee, draw a card, and I'm basically praying to draw Sylveon. That is my only out for this game, because I trap the Arceus in, I go in with another Sylveon that's going to be at full HP, I get the Arceus knockout, and if I end up getting a Sylveon, it is very likely I'm going to draw into a second Oricorio, or not Oricorio, but rare candy, which means my Greninjas can knock out an Oricorio in the back with 2 pings in the next 2 turns. So that is the play I decided to go with. I remember exactly how this game was. I was kind of like remembering wrong, or like a little bit like different plays, because I thought this went to a game 3, but I remember exactly how this went now. And I also had a second thing. I'm like, okay, I didn't ping the Oricorio at first because I'm like, okay, well, if I just, you know, draw into a second one, my Greninjas will actually just knock out the Arceus, allowing my obviously Sylveon to attack anything, which they probably just put in the Oricorio, to be honest. But they actually this actually forced them to waste a giant cape, and off the Eevee draw, I get a Pokecom, and my Giratina is already dead. I know for the fact the only Pokemon left in my deck is a Sylveon, so I'm guaranteed to get a Sylveon. I do get the rare candy, but the Sylveon is more important. I need something to be in the active spot that I can attack and take a damage. Obviously, at any moment I do lose to a Cyrus. That is something else. But I get the Sylveon. I had like almost no cards left in my deck. As you can see, I have 2, so I'm guaranteed to get the Greninja back. And at this point, I win or lose the game to Cyrus. That is the only out that my opponent has now, because they wasted the giant cape on Arceus, which means they have no more giant cape, which means these Oricorios will die next turn. I get the guaranteed knockout on Arceus. You can see I'm debating on using a Tapu Arceus. I'm like, no, let's just go for the Oricorios. This is the guaranteed way to win this. So, and I even have like, even like a Sabrina doesn't do anything for my opponent because the Greninjas live a hit. So by me using both of the Cyruses defensively on this Arceus, it allowed me to stall and get my win condition. So I think this was like the best game I played in this tournament, and I don't know, I just think it was a very well done game. I think I just played this perfectly. I really do think I played this game perfectly. I think this was the only way to win with that very bad start, because I gave them 2 pointers for free. There's nothing I could have done with the Giratina. It was give them the Giratina or lose the game. And you can see here they use the Professor Research on their turn, which means they have no Cyrus, which means I'm guaranteed the win next turn. So just the double Cyrus, you can see how double Cyrus can be used both offensively and defensively in this deck, which is why I think this is the most broken deck, because also you saw I used the Pokecom to get rid of the Greninja, draw into the Sylveon. I only had 2 cards left, and I just had everything, dude. Like the power of Sylveon, just drawing the card, like being able to draw and then just get everything, bro. It's just the most broken card in the game, hands down. Okay, so for winners finals, I guess top 4, I ended up facing the person that originally bricked in the mirror match, because they made it this far. So, you know, just congrats to them for making it. You know, like it's kind of cool that we faced like the second round in the tournament and then like the second to last round. You can see here I'm going second, and there's 2 ways this mirror matches work. One, whoever doesn't break and get like double Greninja wins, or the guy who gets the Giratina set up first and then Greninja Cyrus is the other guy's Giratina and also wins. Going second is very advantageous because you don't even have to go in the Giratina. You see here I have Sylveon second Greninja. I can just start attacking the Sylveon, go in the Greninjas and just win like that. Because if you just take a KO of Sylveon and then they actually play something like an Eevee or a Froakie that just never evolves, you just get the double KO off the EX Pokemon, and then you just attack with the, you know, like your Greninja Sire or something, and you get the attack of Sylveon. That is just how this matchup goes. And I get double Froakie, bro, which is kind of godlike. So I was like, okay, bet, dude. Like, let me not use the Professor Research. I don't want to get red carded. Even though, like, they might red card me anyways because I am drawing a card. I get a rare candy, and at this point, I'm like, okay. I could just win next turn, bro, if they don't have Sylveon. But they Professor Research, so I'm like feeling pretty confident that they get Sylveon. But they are bricking of water energy, so they can never attack of Sylveon, even if it does live because of the Giant Cape. Obviously, it wouldn't live to more than 2 turns because I do have the Greninjas, but it is just still something to point out. But at this point, I mean, they just drew the whole deck, bro. Like, they just have the whole deck. I'm like, damn, I'm probably getting red carded, bro. I'm hoping I don't. But like, they got Giratina like 1 turn too late, so they can't set up on it right away. Not only that, they're, you know, getting the water energy, which also affects how fast you can ramp up Giratina. So like, I have the Sylveon, bro, and like, I'm still pretty, like, feeling pretty good. But yeah, they just put the energy on Sylveon because they're most likely gonna swap out next turn, or like if they ever get Psychic. They do red card me though, which does 100% ruin my plans because I literally just would have won with that hand, 100%. But I have the Professor Research, so I'm like, this better give me a Sylveon, dude, or I might be cooked. And we get the Rainbow Sylveon. We even get a Pokeball too, so we get the second Eevee. Because like at this point, like my Giratina is probably not getting online faster than theirs. Like maybe it could because I do get the Psychic Energy. But like I kind of just want the Greninjas more than anything because I just think attacking twice in the Sylveon is probably more useful. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I put the second Sylveon on it because it's gonna be a 2 Sylveon game. Like screw it. I draw a card. I'm not guaranteed with 8 cards left in my deck, but I still have a second Professor Research. I get the Sylveon, and then I have the 2. Like I'm like almost confident I get a rare candy next turn, almost guaranteed, which would allow me to knock out the Sylveon. They do get the water energy, or like they do end up getting the rare candy for Greninja, I mean. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, they get water and then Psychic back to back. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see them putting that energy on Giratina. I want them to misplay and end up putting the energy on like a Greninja, because like, okay, water energy on Greninja in case I ever need to attack is what I'm hoping for. Because obviously if they put it on Giratina, they will be able to actually attack of it in the following turn, which they are smart. They go in the Giratina, and I'm like, okay, this is very bad for me. I ended up drawing 2 cards. I get the rare candy off the top deck, so like the Sylveon didn't really matter at the end of the day. I just needed the 1 Greninja. And like I have red card, but the red card is also kind of too late. Like I don't really need it anymore. My only problem is like Giratina is coming in. So I know what I should have done. 100%. Like the play is not to knock out the Sylveon. My play is to knock out this Froakie, because this Froakie, it's not evolved. I get the guaranteed KO, and they already wasted the Giant Cape. They are also playing the exact same deck as me. They have no healing cards. They already wasted red card. So all I have to do is take out this Froakie KO, and I have the Cyrus and the Greninja for the second Sylveon. The way that I lose this game is if they Greninja ping my Greninja and then Cyrus it in, and I don't get a rare candy, so I can't Cyrus back the Sylveon on their turn and KO it. And I thought this was my best out, and it was a risk I was willing to take because I think I only have like 6 or 5 cards left in my deck at this point. So I was just kind of willing to take the gamble, dude, because it was my only out. If I took the KO of Sylveon and then they evolved into, you know, another Greninja, then there's basically no way for me to win this game. And exactly like I said, my worst, like that, I kind of figured it was going to happen. It was just the most optimal play. And they do get rid of my Greninja. And at this point, I'm like, shoot, bro, I'm just cooked. I literally just lose the game. Like my only out, I'm pretty sure, is just to draw a Giant Cape and basically pray. And I still have Professor Research, I still have the Giant Cape, and they basically have to have not another Cyrus. I get a Professor Research, so I'm like, okay, maybe I just do draw it. Like maybe I actually just draw it and I could win. I get the rare candy though, and I use the rare candy, and so my opponent actually concedes. The reason my opponent conceded is because they said this afterwards, is they essentially kind of forgot that I used a Professor Research. They kind of just assumed it was a Sylveon, and they thought I was just gonna Cyrus for the win after the rare candy. So they unfortunately conceded, and it was a very unfortunate situation where it just kind of is what it is. Like I think my opponent would have won. My opponent would have won that game 100%. but they conceded. They took the loss, and it was very unfortunate, bro. But at the same time, it's a learning experience for both sides that you just wait it out and just like double check the situation that you are in. For the next game, you could see that I am going first. I have Sylveon, which is cool because that means if they have their own Sylveon or obviously Greninja, I won't be able to get KO'd, which it actually is an Eevee. And I'm seeing water energy, so I'm gonna be honest, bro, just because it's a mirror match, I'm kind of hoping they just break on the energy. And I also get the Greninja and I have the rare candy, so I'm like, okay, well, like there's a high chance like next turn I evolve in the Sylveon, I could just hopefully get a Greninja, like either from just the draws, because I get 3 draws, obviously the 1 from my turn, the 2 from Sylveon, and worst case scenario I could like Pokecom for a Greninja, like if I have to. And you can also see at the top left that my opponent is bricking for the water energy, so like I have like a pretty good hand. Like I went first is the only downside, but like every other thing is kind of just going against my opponent. Like a Giratina obviously would have been bad for me to see, but they end up just collecting on Eevee and they just don't have a Giratina yet. So everything just kind of went right for me in this game. And I draw Giant's Cape. Giant Cape can matter in certain scenarios. Obviously it does not matter now, so I'm just going to keep it in my hand. I'm pretty sure like maybe I do use it. I can't really remember. But I ended up drawing a second Sylveon. And off the Sylveon, I draw a red card. And I have the Pokemon. I'm like, dude, the worst case scenario is I get like an Eevee or a Giratina. Or like even like I guess like I also could get a second Froakie, which would be kind of annoying. But like it's worth the risk to go for the Greninja because like 3 out of 5 things from the Pokemon were good. Because I get the Giratina. I still just attack with the Sylveon next turn and I could just start setting this guy up. Like in case they ever put in their Giratina and I ever draw Greninja, like it's just an easy Cyrus target from then on. So at this point, like I'm like in such a good position. And it's mainly just because like if they get attack of Sylveon, 100% would be a different position, but they can't because they're getting double water, which like I said, we're unfortunate dual energy situation. So like, I red carded them, but they had Sylveon, so like at the end of the day, the red card doesn't really do anything. Is like they have their whole hand back essentially. Obviously, you know, they might not have the same cards, maybe they had something they wanted, but like with the double press or research from like, okay, well they have their whole, like they literally have the exact same like hand size back. Like they probably have stuff to cook, and if they don't, they're just simply unlucky, and it just is what it is. Sometimes it's just Pokemon Pocket, bro. And I have like 11 cards in my deck. I'm like, dude, this like low key, please just let me draw that Greninja, and that'd be pretty sick. Which they end up actually getting Giratina, which I'm not too sure if you're like I don't think placing Giratina is like the best option, because at any point it just does get Cyrused by my Giratina, because my Giratina is already going to get a setup way faster than theirs. So I'm not sure how much I like that play, but at the same time, like I don't think it's bad. Like betting, like maybe like in this situation they don't really have another play. They kind of just have to pray I don't have a Cyrus, so they can get my Giratina in first. And I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, do I want to be aggressive with Sylveon? Because I could win like the first game where I knock out, or like where I almost won with the first game. I could knock out the Sylveon, and then I got Cyrus and a Froakie. And I was like, you know what, dude? I think I'd just be aggressive. I think being aggressive is the play. If they never get Greninja, like they might not be able to knock out my Sylveon even with a Giratina. And then I could just use the Sylveon with the Giant Cape to basically tank a hit. And I could just charge up my Giratina from then and then just win the game by obviously attacking their Giratina after they attacked and just knocking them out. So they didn't get the Greninjas. They simply just bricked again, which is very unfortunate off the Greninjas. And at this point, because I have the Giant Cape, I obviously, at any moment, they could have top decked the rare candy. They could have top decked the rare candy and knocked me out. Another thing that I was scared of is that my next energy wasn't psychic, so I actually, even if I set up my Giratina this like on the following turn, I wasn't going to be able to attack with it. So I had to see what my next energy was, because that determines if I guarantee to win the game if they don't get Greninja or not, which was kind of scaring me, because obviously, you know, if it's psychic after, I just ramp up next turn, and then you know it's, you know, exactly just what I'm talking about, bro. Like I ramp it up, I can just put it down, and they place the Eevee down. I'm like, oh my god, bro, I'm cooked. Like they're just gonna Sylveon, get the Greninja, and get everything. The good thing is I have 2 outs though, because this Giratina can't knock me out. I can technically attack with my Greninja as well, or just double Sylveons, which would also be pretty good. And I actually do get Psychic, so I could have theoretically ramped up the Giratina, but the problem is the Giratina probably just gets Cyrus in next turn because they have the Sylveon. So by drawing that Sylveon was probably the best type that I could have got, because not only did I get Greninja just to do some extra ping damage. Well, actually, all I have to do now is just ping and then Cyrus something in. But theoretically, if I didn't have the Cyrus, I could have just attacked 2 Sylveons back to back and just won the game like that. So Sylveon, Greninja, Cyrus, bro, and I just win the game. This is how I planned to win the first game, but obviously, you know, they just had everything they needed, but unfortunately they conceded like it is. And unfortunate moment for them. That's also why like I'm not counting this win, bro, because it was like a misplay, and I think it was like it was just a tournament that a lot of people were practicing in as well. That's also why I just wanted to use this footage as like simply educational, bro. And let me just stop yapping about the game, bro. My bad. So the final set is starting. It is once again against the Type Null Zorora Oricorio deck. I go first with Eevee and Froakie with a kind of a bad hand. I only had a Pokeball, and I'm basically praying to just draw Sylveon so I can't take a hit. And I'm also hoping they don't let it ahead so I don't have to waste my giant cape on the Sylveon if I actually end up drawing it. And at least like the only good thing I could say is like they just didn't have or Zorora, I mean. So at least if I can somehow knock out the Silvally next turn, like it wouldn't have, like there's nothing would have energy advantage. And I Professor Research, I'm like, all right, I really was hoping that was going to be a Giratina. And you can see here I'm doing a very ballsy play of actually just drawing with the Eevee that is going to be sacrificed. Obviously, if I knew my next deck, like my next card was going to be a Sylveon, I would have just put the energy on the Eevee and attack next turn. But they Mars me anyways. And I was like feeling pretty bad, bro. Like I'm feeling pretty bad. But I get the Sylveon and I get a Greninja back. So I have like 4 draws. I'm like, okay, well, like now maybe I could do something. You know, I could take a hit with Sylveon or Greninja, whichever one I do want to go into first. And basically hope to be able to win from there. But you can see I'm just going in with Eevee as I obviously need the Greninja alive to be able to let my Greninja deal with the Oricorios later. And I've done Professor Research, which is pretty cool. But I just draw a red card Rare Candy. I was really hoping for Rare Candy Greninja so I could Cyrus in that back type null and stall a turn in case he didn't have a second Silvally to swap out, which is what I was hoping for. Fortunately, did not happen. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I guess we're knocking out the Silvally and we're still going to bank on them not having a second one at this point. There's really nothing else I can do. Like, they attack me and I just die in 2 hits. So, and I have to put the energy on the swap around. So I have no, like, because I wasted that energy on the draw Eevee, and I went first, I'm at such a disadvantage where like, there's almost no way I could win this game. Because they're attacking my Silvally, so at any moment in the game, and this is going to be a long game, they just Cyrus me into any Pokemon and I simply just lose. So I eventually ended up drawing Giratina. I switched into Greninja to take a hit. And I get Giratina fully set up. But it still doesn't matter. I was never able to KO the very first Silvally. So my Giratina would just die from the second Silvally plus an Oricorio. Anything dies from a Sabrina or a Cyrus. So I have no choice just but to concede. I just misplayed at the very beginning. I shouldn't have went for that draw on Eevee. Even if I had a very bad hand, I should have known that my only way to win would have been to rely on a top deck. So I kind of just accepted, like, yeah, it is, bro. I mean, it's just a Silvally. They went second and I didn't get a good hand. Like, that's all it came down to. And I'm like, whatever. Like, I didn't misplay. Like, I kind of did misplay, but even if I didn't misplay, like, I think I still would have lost, dude. Like, my Sylveon is not going to solo 2 Silvallis and an Oricorio. So, it just kind of is what it is. So, we start game 2, going second, and I'm like, oh my god, bro. Let me see that Oricorio in the active. Obviously, like, I can't knock out the Oricorio, but, like, I just don't want them to have energy advantage. And it's Aurora, bro, and I'm like, oh my god, bro. I'm like, why? Out of all the leads, that is the worst one I could have seen. Flareon. So this kind of tells me that they don't really have Pokeballs or anything in their hand, because I feel like they would have Pokeballed first. And they just have Zorora, bro, which is fine. If they choose to attack, they're not sitting up on the Silvally. I have Pokeball. I also have Sylveon. And the good thing is I actually have the giant cape. The giant cape is very important because my opponent is playing 2 Geos. If my opponent actually started as Aurora going first, got a free KO with Geo, I probably would be at such a disadvantage I would lose the game. But at this point, like, I get Giratina, which is cool. I put 1 on the Sylveon, and I have the Sylveon plus the Professor Research. Basically what I'm banking on happening is I just simply draw a Greninja rare candy off my 5 draws that I'm getting next turn. And if I do, I'm in such a good spot to just win the game. Like, that is just how I instantly win the game, because they would not be able to attack with the Silvally, and I would just be at such an advantage. That's all I wanted to have happen. So they attack me. Who knows if they actually had Geo or not, because they used Gladion. I get the Rainbow Sylveon too, which I'm just going to go into it because it looks cooler. And that's also cool because there's one last card I didn't want to draw. Plus, if I get an Eevee, it's fine. I get the rare candy. I'm like, oh, we're so close to greatness. We are so close. Professor Research, red card, we don't get it, but we get a Pokeball. So, I mean, we could get an Eevee to go into 2 Sylveons, which we indeed do. So at this point, like, they could obviously swap out Silvally Dawn me, but if they do that, they still knock me out. So, like, I'm still fine of just attacking with this. Plus, if I do get Greninja off the second Sylveon, what I could just do is I could just knock out this Roar that attacks something, and then I could just set up my either my Greninja or my second Sylveon to attack, and basically just abandon going into Giratina. Because you don't need Giratina in this matchup, like, unless you, like, last resort want to attack with it. And, like, kind of, like, depends. Like, if you get it, like, first or, like, second and you get, like, the perfect energies, yeah, you can set it up pretty fast. But overall, going second, like, Sylveon is probably, like, the best lead for this matchup in my personal opinion. So, well, yeah, they just set up on the Silvally in the back. They attack me. And, yeah, it is what it is. I draw a Froakie. Like, I basically just need a Greninja. That's all I need. And I do get Water and Psychic back to back, which is cool. So I can set up on either guy that I want to go into. And I get the classic Sylveon Greninja. And it's actually crazy. My Greninjas are the bottom 2 cards of my deck. But thankfully, though, I have a Pokecom, so I can get a Greninja. That's actually just, it's kind of insane luck. But, like, who cares, bro? Like, at the end of the day, I still get it. And, like, at this point, bro, like I said, bro, I'm in such a good position that I think I'm just, like, chilling. Because I just red card them. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they don't get Silvally. Because, like, theoretically, they, like, if I knock out the Zoroark with the Greninja ping, they might just put in the type null, and then if I attack the type null, like, it just dies from that situation again. Because I don't know if they want their Silvally taking 70 damage, because then it just gets KO'd next turn. And even if, like, they do that, like, I don't think there's any way for my opponent to win at this point, just because, like, I'm going to be able to get 2 KOs, and, like, they just have no energy advantage ever. So, like, they placed on Oricorio and they could technically stall, but, like, I already have my whole deck in my hand. The last card is the Pokemon target, which is just going to be my Froakie. So I could just Cyrus in anything that gets damaged. You can see here they're just taking the KO and they're going to try to stall. But like I said, bro, I still just have 2 Cyruses at the end of the day. So I could just bring in the Silvally twice, if not just set up on a Greninja if I wanted to. But obviously there's no point in sending the Greninja up as they have no energy, so I could stack up Sylveon and then I just win the game, bro. Because obviously 2 pings of Greninja plus a Sylveon attack is going to be 110, which is a perfect amount to just knock out the second Silvally. So I'm just guaranteed to win the game even if they evolve next turn with a Cyrus. I also could have, like, theoretically brought in the type null now with the Cyrus, but, like, it didn't matter. I was guaranteed either way. So and they just concede. Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing they could have done. I just started second with the God Hand. And this is just how this matchup is. Loki, whoever goes second kind of wins this. And gets, like, just the better draws. So for the final game, I go second once again. And I'm like, yes, bro. I am feeling so good about this. Because this is the best thing that can happen. All we want to do is see going second. They do get to Aurora once again, which is concerning. Because they can knock me out. Not only that, but they can knock me out because, you know, I'm just Froakie. And then if they have a Geo, I still will get knocked out, which is, like, pretty bad. But it kind of just is what it is, bro, if they have it. They also had 2 Auroras. So what they could do is swap out and then go into Silvally and still Dawn, which is also another thing I was thinking of. I drew the red card and I'm like, dude, I wish I just had that before they placed everything down, obviously. would have been so nice. But I prefer to research first because I was hoping to get like an Eevee. And I ended up getting the Eevee, so that's like the one positive thing about this. I put the giant cape on. I have to bank on them not having Dawn or a Geo. They do play 2 Geos and they do play 1 Dawn. So it's like the odds were pretty much against me. And because I saw that they didn't use a like Professor Research, I just red carded because like I'm probably never going to use red card again in the game. Because they already like dumped their hand. So they're always going to constantly be dumping their hand using support cards for Silvally. And I'm like kind of like debating on where you're putting the energy because like I could attack with the dude next turn. You can see me like I'm like I have no clue, bro. Like I'm so scared of like any of those like 3 situations happening. But I'm like I just gotta set up on guaranteed, bro. Like I get the Psychic next turn. I can set him up next turn guaranteed. I think it's just the way it has to be. They do evolve in the Silvally. They Gladion though, so that means no Geo, no Dawn. I am guaranteed safe for this turn, which is extremely good for me. I got a second Eevee off the draw. I mean, it doesn't really do anything. So I press the research. I'm basically just banking on a rare candy, which I do not get. Although I do get the Sylveon, so I have another chance at 2 draws. Even though like I still die from the Zorora either way, and I don't get it. So I'm like, all right, not the best position to be in. Not the best position to be in, bruh. So I'm just basically contemplating what to do here, bruh. Like I take a long time because I'm like I could charge up the Giratina, go in for the attack, then the Silvally does 100 damage to me, and then the Zorora does 50. Either one of those feel bad. And I'm looking, I'm like, I have 6 cards left. I have a second Sylveon. I have 2 Greninjas, or no, I have 1 Greninja, 2 rare candies. You see, like, I almost put the energy on Sylveon, but I ended up putting on Giratina. I'm like, okay, dude. 2 out of 6 chance I draw Greninja. If I draw Greninja, I could bring in the Silvally. They didn't place the second type null down. So if I could bring in the Silvally, my Giratina lives 2 hits from these Zororas. And at that point, I could start setting up on a Sylveon next turn to go into. And then I could win like that. That was basically what I was banking my play down to. However, they used the Gladion right before the end of their turn and put down a second type null. But they have never used Dawn yet. And I don't know if they have a second Silvally. So I'm also banking on them not having a Dawn, which they didn't use previously because they probably would have. They would have taken the KO. So at this point, it just comes down to if I draw rare candy, which I indeed did, which saves me the game. I also put the Eevee down, obviously, because I only have 1 more basic, and if I draw a Sylveon, I'm going to want to draw in the cards. And I'm also going to set up a Sylveon so I can swap into that on the following turn to, you know, be able to attack these Auroras and knock them out, where my Giratina is going to be threatened by KO. Obviously, at any moment I do lose to a Silvally, if they attack me 1 time, I will lose to a Silvally Cyrusing in my Giratina. But this is the only play I can make. I have to take this KO, and I have to allow them to attack me. There's nothing else I could do in this situation. I just have to bank on it. Because even if I Cyrus in the second Silvally, I'm going to be at a range where these Aurora can just kill me with a Geo. I'm pretty sure. Because I'll be at 80. Yeah, I'll be at 60 HP, so I'm in range of a Geo from Aurora. So it all comes down to if my opponent has a Cyrus or not. Yeah, so they just attacked me after my opponent took a long time for that turn. Second rare candy does not do anything. And like I said, I have to retreat out into Giratina. Yeah, actually, you know, I got rid of a Psychic Energy, bro. I don't think I should have. I don't remember exactly why I did that. I actually should have got rid of the water one, you know, so I can't go back in the Giratina because I do get Psychic next turn if needed to be. Because I do have the Cyrus, but I win this game off 2 ways. 1, they don't have Cyrus, and 2, they don't Mars me. They put the Silvally, and I'm like, they probably have it, bro. Like, I just gotta concede. I just gotta concede to give it up. And there's just nothing I could do. There's just nothing I could have done. And they do Mars me, which gives away my Cyrus. But so in my deck is, you can see me tap on it in a second. I'm pretty sure I tap on it in a second. But first, they just attack my Sylveon for 100 damage, and I draw a card. So I have Pokecom, and I'm kind of debating. I'm like, okay, well, they didn't have Cyrus this turn. I didn't draw my Cyrus, and you can see I have 4. I clicked on my deck real quick before obviously I went in the discard pile. I have 4 cards left in my deck. I have the Pokemon already. My last 4 cards are a Greninja, a Sylveon, a Cyrus, and I don't remember what the last one is. I think it's just I think it's the last Pokeball. So because I have the Pokemon, if I draw Greninja, the Greninja gets me my Sylveon. Sylveon then gets me 2 cards, which can access my Cyrus. I also could just top deck the Cyrus. So I had a 3 out of 4 chance to get my Cyrus on the following turn if I could just live one more turn without them actually having a Cyrus, which they obviously did not have because they did not use it on the Giratina on the following turn. So you can see here, I switch out in the Greninja. I could also attack up the Greninja next turn. So if they try to put in the Oricorio, it also gets knocked out. And even if they Sabrina me, I still have a way to win because I give them the Eevee, which obviously then just allows me to win off a 1 out of 3 or 4 at this point. And I just charged with the Giratina, like I might as well. Obviously I won't be able to attack with it, which was a misplay. Like I would have if I didn't get rid of the Psychic when I was retreating. But obviously it does not matter. The main way I win this is to just go into the second Sylveon and then get my Cyrus. Obviously the Giratina would have actually been another out to guarantee this victory if they didn't have a Cyrus, which they obviously don't because they Professor researched. So I'm feeling pretty good about this right now. Obviously I made a misplay to have like a fully guaranteed win, but I am still liking my odds over 3 out of 4. So I don't know why I was so like distracted on getting the Cyrus to win. I kind of forgot that because they didn't obviously have the Cyrus this turn, I won no matter what. I didn't even have to get my Cyrus. So I kind of was just yapping for a whole lot of nothing. So I just wanted to point that out after I was editing. And my opponent actually ended up just conceding. So we actually never ended up seeing what I drew. So I guess we'll never find out, but they conceded, and that was how I won the 20-person tournament. Like I said, I just wanted to put this out there so you guys could see the gameplay. Even last set, I got lucky last set. My opponent technically won that first game, but they didn't win. Or they conceded too fast. And then this game, I got lucky that I went second the very game 2 and 3. And yeah, it just is what it is. I also got lucky they didn't have a Cyrus when they had a lot of cards in their hand. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this over commentary. I hope I was able to describe. I know I was kind of yapping, dude, but some people have told me that they like the yapping when I try to describe the plays instead of being quiet. So I kind of wanted to try and do that. So I hope it wasn't too obnoxious, and I hope you guys do enjoy it at the end of the day. I would love some feedback in the comments, and peace out and have a lovely day. And I will be streaming today, as if you watch this video, I'll plan to stream after work as long as something doesn't come up. If not, I'm going to stream the Froggy X and then the Magma tournaments on Thursday, Friday, and also the Ursies on Saturday.